Welcome to another episode of Talking Wit, WIT, Kevin and Son. And so this is my disclaimer for those of you that want to go ahead and throw shade on everything that I do. For those of you that want to think I'm off my rocker today, that I've lost my mind or whatever, we are talking about tarot card readings. I know many of my friends on the West Coast that are in the business do not make any major decisions without going to their favorite person and looking at their cards. I know some of my friends, basically, that turn the pages and based on their interpretation and perception of what they understand about religion, they have a couple of things to say that this is blasphemy and everything else, and I am crazy to do this, and I'm going to rot in hell, whatever the case may be. Well, I am living my best life every single day, and the only life I know is the life that I live today. I know my connection with my spiritual beliefs and whatever, and how if a man wants to interpret the acts and way that I walk in the name of the Father and Son and the Holy Spirit. So if you want to judge me for this could be entertainment for someone, and this could be eye-awakening. I am actually going to have my tarot cards actually read. But before I go on, I want to go ahead and support some of you people that think to the opposite side, what people think about tarot. Tarot is fortune telling, so they say. Only a psychic can read tarot cards. Tarot cards are 100% accurate, or tarot cards are black magic. There's just crazy people. There's good and bad cards in tarot cards. Readers must follow a certain spiritual ritual, whatever the case may be. And then there's a death card that everyone's so afraid. So if tarot card reader says you're going to die, you're going to die. Well, believe it or not, that myth is probably true because, evidently we all are living just to do one thing, to die. It's the quality of life, that little dash in between your birth date and the next date that comes through. That is how you live your life. And before I go on, I want to bring in my good friend. And like I said, for those of you that are listening and tuning in that have stayed with me this long, I am actually going to have my cards read. We're going to ask Marcella a couple of questions about this and explain how she got into this business and whatever. For those of you that are interested, I'm going to connect you with her and go from there. But again, this is going to be fun for me. This has not been pre-recorded or anything. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just new to this, whatever, but I'm excited. I'm going to have some fun. So with that, welcome to another episode of Talking Wit, Kevin and Son. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission is through the power of story to uplift, to share our voices, to inspire, share stories and experiences based on our perspectives, using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is hope, helping other people every day. And so with that said, I want to welcome in, I'm only going to give her first name, Marcella. How you doing, Marcella? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Did I do all the crazy stuff up front? Did I do that?
That was fun. Yeah, that was.
That's all right. And like I said, doing a podcast is about two things. Either I'm entertaining someone or I'm educating someone, and I just want to have a good time. And so I am curious to know what the cards say about Kevin. I know that I'm going through life and I have not shared anything of my life experiences with you. So this is all going to be fresh. So how do we get started and where do we get started? I know you have cards ready for me.
I have cards. I always have cards.
All right.
I chose a deck asking the deck what it thought about you today, or which each one thought about you. And this one really wants to read you. So the first thing that I usually do is I ask my protectors and my guides to connect with yours and to make sure that it's okay to actually read you. And I have been turned down every once in a blue moon. So, but seems like all is well. We get to do this.
I was going to say, if my people tell you this turned down, we don't have a show.
The next thing I got to do is I'm going to light some sage here. Just to clear some energy, even though I try to keep this area really light because I have a little girl and she's always with me. There you go.
All right, be careful.
So,
my neighbor.
Oh no, I've got it.
I'm just making sure because my neighbor just set his house on fire because their son was lighting sage in their room.
Oh,
I mean, it's a true story. Yep.
it's terrible. All
Yep.
right, so I've lit that. It's gonna be burning next to me the whole time. And then I clean the cards over the smoke just to clear the air. I cleanse the cards every single day, whether or not I use them. I sit them on my altar as well, which is covered with crystals. And and then I just shuffle them to like clear some more energy.
All right.
And now what I'm doing is connecting with you. You ready?
I was born ready.
Okay. So I am just shuffling now and asking the deck. It's funny because I guess I'll explain this later on to you, but I'm asking the deck to give me some general cards for your general reading right now. This is just to see what space you're in, and then we can do a proper reading.
All right.
I just like to do this. Okay, so spirits are moving.
Okay, you unmuted yourself. Go back on. I can't hear you.
Okay, that wasn't me.
All right, don't touch anything. The spirits, stay out of my
I'm
business.
not touching anything.
All right, spirits, don't unmute my guest. Come on, work with me.
Don't. Okay. So just like I said, reading your general energy right now. And the first thing that I got was the Queen of Wands, which means you're feeling very mellow right now. You're in a very loving headspace, which I like. You're leading today with compassion and empathy, and that's always really good. The next card was the Six of Pentacles. This tells me you're feeling incredibly generous, but you're also ready to receive. It's one of my favorite cards. And then the Three of Pentacles, which is about learning. This is about connecting with others and being able to teach and receive learning at the same time. So this is your general headspace. And now we can start with your reading. I'm going to shuffle again. And usually I take what they call jumpers, because the deck will, hopefully you'll be able to see this. The deck will sometimes spit out cards at us. I hope they don't spit across the room because that happens sometimes too.
All right.
They'll throw them and I have to get up and go chase them.
All right, and for the people that's just listening to us while they're driving, she's actually shuffling the cards, but she calls it jumping.
I call them jumpers, yeah.
All right. All right.
So
I'm not nervous. I'm fine.
you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. There's a lot of good info here so far.
All right.
Now, I don't do general spreads. A lot of people do a spread, and you can read about spreads online, or you can learn from other tarot readers. But I pull the cards that that are meant for you without having to have a specific meaning to it, because we can take the meaning from the spread, from the cards themselves. So the first thing up is the Four of Cups, and this is telling me that there are a lot of offers coming your way. Probably a lot more than you've let on to anyone at all, but this is saying that there's a lot of opportunity for you. And I want you to take a look here. This right here, this cup being offered by this hand coming out of nowhere. You've got all these here that you're looking at. This one might be a surprise. This might be something that is unexpected. You don't really seem ready to receive that one. This is just saying, don't discount anything that comes into your world right now. It's not a good time to do that. Look at every single offer, because you might pass on something that could have been really great for you.
All right.
Yeah, so then I've got the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is telling me that there has been some sorrow in your life recently, and that while you are really trying to move past it and rid yourself, there's still an underlying pain or sadness, and it will leave you. It will. What this is saying is that they would really like for you to own it, to feel it, to make sure you process it in the proper way for you so that you can fully release it. With that card came out with the Justice card. And oh, by the way, I wanted to throw in that I get cards with words on them because my clients love that. They're able, when I sit face to face with someone, they're able to read them and get a general idea. And it's usually really helpful for most of them. Plus I just really like this deck.
Okay.
So this is the Justice card, and this is telling me that there may have been some not so nice dealings in your life recently, which you're going to get some fairness from. So if someone maybe stole from you or um hurt you in some way, this is almost like a karma card. It's coming back to you because we've already seen that you got the Six of Pentacles earlier, which tells us that you're an incredibly generous person with your time, with your energy. And this card is saying that you probably gave quite a bit to someone who took advantage. And this card is bringing you the fairness of that situation.
I sure hope that's true.
Um, Now, the next card is the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is about a choice that you have got to make. And it's funny that it came up in the same reading as the Four of Cups, because Four of Cups is about choices. It's about, deciding on offers. And the Two of Swords is saying, that you're going to be presented with a few. And you shouldn't sit on it. Take your time to really review them, but don't sit on it. Ultimately, you've got to make that choice um, in a timely manner. Now, I feel like this is nothing new for you. I feel like you're always pretty determined. And this is the Knight of Swords, fastest moving knight in the deck. And he is bringing you a lot of action. So whatever is coming, this is your willpower and determination driving that situation. Now, funny because I feel like you've got this balance in you in general. Like you've got that wild side, but you've also got that very calm Kevin, where you're up for the adventure, but then there's that downtime that you need. And that right there, temperance, that describes you and this energy and this situation. You are ready to move forward. And at the same time, you want to make sure all your ducks are in a row. That's the term, right? Because I don't
Yeah,
really know that term.
that is the
Yeah.
term.
Yeah. So temperance is also about alchemy, patience, alchemy, changing things. So you've got the ability to change water to wine or lead into gold, or silver. And you're doing this in your own time. You are really working on something that you want to be done, but at the same time, you want it to be just right. So it's taking its time and it's evolving. I can pull a few more if you'd like.
Let's do two more, and then we'll go through
Okay,
it.
two more.
And let's just talk.
Okay.
You know I wrote a book on dating, so let's see what romance has for me.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I wrote a book called Dating with a Full Deck, and for
That's funny.
for most people to write a book on human behavior when it relates to dating, I will tell you it's a curse for most people. It's a blessing on one side and a curse on the other. So for those of you that are authors, I'm just saying, call me before you release your book. I have something to share.
So, funny that you said dating because the Six of Cups came up next, and Six of Cups is about nostalgia. It's about past memories, sweeter days. And it feels like you have been maybe thinking about someone from the past or maybe situations from the past that made you feel really good. And it seems like they're going to be coming back.
I hope not.
Maybe a person,
I hope not.
maybe a feeling that you had when being with someone special.
I,
And
I don't have any one of my past that I want to bring back.
well, you've got the Ten of Cups, so something is coming to you. Maybe it's just the dynamic of having a happy family. Maybe not so much the marriage, maybe just a partner, somebody that you like spending time with. But this is coming your way, and it's going to bring back all those old feelings of love and companionship and just family. So that's it. That's what I got for you, Kevin.
All right. Well, thank you for doing my reading. Thanks to my listeners for getting an insight to what my today, my yesterday, and tomorrow's will be like. And now we want to go ahead and learn a little bit more about you.
Okay.
Talk about, Tara and how it how did you become interested in tarot reading and spirit what I can't even say the word spirituality.
Spirituality.
Yeah. Oh, I got tongue tied. See what happens when a pretty woman gets on the thing? I get all tongue tied or whatever. But anyway, how'd you become interested in tarot reading?
I've been exposed to tarot my entire life. Um, and I think I probably had my first deck gifted to me when I was about 15 years old. And that was because I was constantly running to the person who gave it to me, say, I had this vision, and I would tell people about things that was going to happen to them, and they would get scared. So this generous woman that I knew years ago said to me, "No, you're not doing that anymore." And she gave me the deck and she taught me to read. And back then, I mean, I could do it, but I wasn't interested. And the spirituality part, I was raised in the culture of spirituality, all types. On my mother's side, I'm Catholic, and my father's side is kind of Catholic, but mostly very, very spiritual in that they follow whatever feels good to them.
So I know early on in the introduction, I said that people believe that tarot reading or psychics are the devil's work in that. But you've mentioned that you have a connection with your faith. Um,
Right.
I'm a firm believer, there is good and evil. I'm a firm believer that there is something, no matter what you believe, has connected human beings to this earth, this universe, and whatever. And I believe that there are some people that have the gift to know answers to questions that we question. I mean, there's good and bad everywhere. I mean, look at our society right now. We're more divided than we are as whole. We can't differentiate good and bad based on color, sexuality, or preference or whatever. So if terror is the worst thing that we can experience in life, I think we all should have a deck of cards. But how do you feel when people say that this is black magic?
I think people are going to believe what they want to believe, and sometimes you can change their minds, and sometimes you can't. It's not black magic. Like I said, I was raised Catholic, so and a lot, it's funny because I mentioned this to one of my students the other day, how much I love the Catholic Church, and they said to me, "What? I didn't know you were Catholic." And I said, "Oh, well, I do. I love the Catholic Church. I don't love everything it represents, but um, I actually do like going to church. I haven't been for a while, but when I get the opportunity, I go." And so funny because one of the people that taught me to read tarot was a nun,
Hmm.
and she used it for guidance. So these are just messages that I received through the cards, and I don't believe that I was given a gift for nothing. I think that it's here with me. I'm here for a reason. And it had to come from source. It had to come, well, source meaning the universe, meaning God.
Right.
Call him, her, it, whatever you want.
All
Because
right.
I think that it came from there. So I don't think it's black magic. I've seen people do black magic and has nothing to do with tarot. Has everything to do with other things that I won't mention now.
Okay. And we don't have to mention it, but
Okay.
I'm hoping there's more good than evil in this world. When you approached a reading, um, what are the tools that you use for personal growth and self-reflection? Because I know that when you give energy to someone else or into someone else, it also like your battery on your cell phone, it also drains the energy on you when you're passing that through. Um, so how do you approach a reading, especially with mine? I mean, it's kind of easy for most people to kind of Google some of the stuff that I've done because I'm out there, and some people say, "Oh, she Googled that," and whatever the case may be. I would say some of the cards you mentioned, there I am aware of some of those things that are coming my way. And I did ask the question because I want to know what my personal life is going to be like. But how do you approach this as personal growth and self-reflection on yourself going into a reading?
Oh, and on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like I said, I really think that I was given a gift for a reason. I don't need the cards.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm a neurodivergent person, adult, whatever you want to call me, and I stim, which means I constantly need to have my fingers um doing something, moving, I have to constantly be in touch with something to feel comfortable. And as a child, it was self-harm. When I started using the tarot more frequently, I realized that shuffling kept me from stimming
Hmm.
um too much and harming myself. So so I don't think that I was given a gift for nothing. Um I think I like to read people. I can read them without the tarot. I have passed people in the street and I can see what's going to happen to them. And sometimes it's a little traumatic. So I try to remember that it's not for me, it's for them, should I choose to give them the messages, and then I can release it. And if I don't, it stays with me for quite a while. So I endeavor to release as much as possible. I use a lot of sage, and I use Palo Santo, but very sparingly. It's also part of the faith I grew up with. And I cleanse a lot. I drink a lot of water. When I'm done with a reading, I will probably go and have fruit, something to replenish myself, just so that I'm still up to par for whatever comes next. And usually what comes next after a tarot reading is family, my little girl. And I have to be 100% for her. So in general, I'd say that I have to approach these things from an outsider's point of view, even though the messages are coming through me, and it feels like I am there. So while I'm talking to you, I am there. I am with you. I feel like I'm sitting right next to you, and we're just maybe having coffee, and I can tell you, hey, Kevin, I had this vision of you. Um, it's challenging. It's challenging. Sometimes I see things I don't want to see. So
And
I have to keep it light.
and that's one of the things I'm going to ask you, because you brought up the fact that when you're walking on the street, that you pass people and you see things and whatever. I know M. Night Shyamalan made a movie, you know, where the kid says, "I see dead people" and whatever. If you're in the presence of someone and you know um, misfortune, bad will is going to come upon them, is it your responsibility to keep it to yourself, or do you feel responsible to pre-warn that person? I mean, if I'm going to step out in traffic and you know that taxi cab is going to hit me, do you stop me from stepping off the curb?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Little secret, I actually see dead people all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been speaking to spirits my whole life too.
All right, because that's one thing I was going to say. How do you ensure ethical and responsible tarot reading? That was my next question.
Ethical and responsible. Well, unless I have permission from my clients, my students, whoever I am reading, I am not allowed to speak on them. So it's like a HIPAA thing with the hospitals, with doctors. If I read you, it's between us, unless otherwise stated beforehand or even after. Um, I also endeavor to give the most caring reading possible. And I know people who will just say, just lay it on me. And those times I have, and I've seen their faces, and I say, we can try to change this. I don't think anything is really set in stone. I think that, and these are personal opinions. These are just my personal opinions. I think that God gave us free will for a reason. So when I give you a message, some of the remnants of that message may come up if you haven't changed um your path, I guess you could say. Um it's a challenging thing. It's a challenge because I want to talk so much about one in particular, but I want to wait to do that. Um but I will say this. I will try to give the most caring, empathetic reading I can. And at the same time, I will let you know this is probably something you can change depending on the reading itself.
Okay.
Okay. So the outcome can be different if you decide, well, if I know that A is going to get me to B and I don't want to be at B, then maybe I can go back to A and do C instead, and that'll take me to D. you know? So it's all up to the person that I'm reading because it's your life. When I'm done with you, I'm going to cleanse and I'm okay.
All right, because that brings me to, because I like the way that you are prefacing things. 'Cause that brings me to, because I know with my reading for, for this show, that we did not do a full reading, and I was prepared. I'm going, how is she going to approach uh, sensitive topics or challenges? And I know if we kept going with the cards and whatever, some of those things may come up. But talking to our guests, our listeners, if you were doing a reading, how do you approach sensitive and challenging situations that come up in a reading?
I will give a card. I'm going to grab a random one. It has nothing to do with anyone. I'm just asking them for a random card. And I can explain better by showing because
Grab a
I'm
random
also
card about me. See
what's
if
that?
grab a random card and see if it attaches.
Okay. Kevin, let's see.
Yeah, because I don't want you to
Oh,
grab a
God, Kevin.
random card and one of the 2,000 people that listen it connects to. I want the energy to stay.
Okay, we're gonna do Kevin. Okay. Kevin, we got the tower. The tower is kind of a necessary evil. I like to tell people that the tower is here to bring in the chaos. And at the same time, if you see, and I like the visuals of the cards because they tell a story. This is kind of an argument or discord or just a disagreement between two people. And the tower, this is the foundation of that relationship. This is struck by lightning. This tower is going to fall. The whole thing is going to crumble. And this happens sometimes. Sometimes a relationship crumbles, sometimes a business deal crumbles. So let's just say, for example, this was a business deal. I would say, Kevin, I think that this is not going to go very well for you. Unfortunately, this is going to turn out very bad. But I want you to know that it's a necessary thing. When this tower falls, the dust is going to settle and you're going to see exactly what you need. You're going to gain clarity on this and you're going to see exactly what you need to move on from it. So that's how I would approach a card like that.
All right. I always said don't wish for what you're not willing to work for, and that's it. So you brought up the fact that you wanted to tell a story. Do you have a particular profound memory of a tarot reading that you've conducted that you can share with us without giving someone's name or personal information?
I do. I actually have permission from quite a few people. They say you can tell people about this because they were overwhelmed by it. I met someone and who insisted on having a reading, and we were in a group of people, and I said sure. So we went private, and I immediately noticed that I was feeling flutters here in my throat, and I that's very unfamiliar to me. I felt it very randomly through other readings, and and when I gave birth to my daughter, and I knew what it was. I said, "Oh, something is wrong. What's wrong with your heart?" And she said to me, "Nothing. I got a clean bill of health recently." I said, "Why are you lying to me?" I felt it even before pulling the cards. I felt it. And then I felt it here in my chest too. And I remember saying to her, something's wrong. And I don't think that you're being honest with me because I can't, this is not going away from me. And I have nothing wrong. I'm healthy. And she kept insisting, no. And every time I pulled a card, it would tell me that there was something going on. And I kept saying, I can't make this feeling go away. Please go to your doctor and check this out right away. And she says, I'm fine. I'm fine. Well, at that moment, right in my hall, near where I was sitting, there was a light, really bright light. And I saw this woman trying to come through. And I was looking at her and I said to my client, there's a woman here from the other side. And she's saying your name. And she kept calling her and saying, honey, honey. And my client said, what? Who is she? And so I asked the woman, and I'm going to change her name also. So, for privacy's sake, I said, ma'am, who are you? And she says, well, I'm Mary. And I said, well, she says her name is Mary. And she says to me, what? She says, no, like literally, shut the fuck up, Marcella. That's my grandmother's name. And I said, okay. And these things don't surprise me anymore. And she says, she's been gone for many years. And I said, well, she's saying your name over and over again. And I'm looking at the client, and then the other woman was gone. And she says, well, why is she gone? I said, well, she can't come through. This tells me she's already at rest. But she was here for a reason. It was because this woman's the palpitations I was feeling from her. And she says, well, that's not right. She would have come through. I said, she doesn't have to come through. When you're at rest, you're at rest. You don't have to come back. You may come back in a dream, but you can't, well, not even physically, but come through like that, the way other spirits can. So we ended the reading. And of course, I went to cleanse myself, which I always do. I drink water, I sage, and I get a call from a friend. And she says, hey, what did you do to her? And I said, I didn't do anything to her. I gave her a reading, which is what she asked for. And she says you channeled her grandma. And I said, well, that's what they said. Yes, that they said this was who she was. She says you also called her out on a heart condition. And I said, I knew she was lying to me. I could feel it. And she says that that was a test to see if I was genuine. And so the client went and was singing my praises to everyone, saying that I called her out and she had not spoken to me about it. And I couldn't even Google this information either. It was right on the moment, right on the spot that she had asked for the reading. So these are the kinds of things that happen a lot. I had one other that I thought was worth mentioning. It was a young woman. Also, I also won't say her name, but I have permission to talk about this. She wanted a relationship reading. And it's not something I often do. I will do a relationship reading if someone asks. And she wanted me to give her information I could not give to her. And no matter what cards came up, she kept saying, but that's not right. Shuffle again, shuffle again. And while I was reading her, a spirit came to me. And I remember looking up and I said, hello. And he says, hi, I'm Anthony. And I said, hello, Anthony. And she says, what did you say? I said, there was a spirit here. And he said his name was Anthony. She says, Marcella, my mother's best friend just died last week. His name was Anthony. I said, oh, well, he's gone now. He left. She says, okay, that's a message. I have to listen. So this was just a message to her that she needed to accept what the reading was saying to her about the specific relationship. So that's what happens with me all the time, Kevin.
All right, Marcella, a lot of people are listening, and
Mhm.
either one side or the other side, and some people are asking, Kevin normally, asks this question at the very
Mhm.
beginning of the show and then at the end of the show. But I was so intrigued by everything that you had said, listening to my reading and so forth. How do people get in touch with you? For someone that um, is searching for more than the answer they have today, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, I've got I'm a little private for now, but I do have a link tree with some information there where you can reach out to me, send me an email, or reach out to me on Instagram, and we can talk. We can set up a consult.
It would be a big help if you gave us your email address.
Okay. All right. So my email address is marcella@yahoo.com. I've also got another one. It's La Petite Lune Crystals, but it's there's a dot between every word. La Petite Lune Crystals at gmail.com.
All right. And for those of you that are looking up Marcella, when you look at it, it looks like Marcella, Marccella, but she pronounces it Marcella. So I just want to make sure that when people are trying to find you, they can actually find you. Whoa, wow. I've enjoyed this. And it's funny while you were sitting here telling the story, normally doesn't happen in this room. It's never happened. The room got cold for some reason while you were telling this story in my house. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if the temperature dropped outside or whatever the case may be. But I know a lot of my friends, especially the friends that I have that are in the entertainment business, this is part of their religion. Before they do a project, while they're going through a project, while they're trying to find answers to their life, they have these people that are on speed dial. How do you help individuals interpret and apply your guidance to receive the tarot card reading in their daily lives?
Well, It's like I was saying earlier that we all have free will. And no matter what I say to you during a reading, you're going to do what feels good for you. What I do is I encourage you to do whatever is going to be the best outcome for you. Even if all the outcomes are good, I think it's time to sit with the reading and meditate, contemplate, you know. And I'll say this, I'll say, listen, this is what they're saying to you. If you want to take our advice, this could happen for you. And I always try to find the best possible way to relay the messages. I also try to encourage the clients to feel good about themselves during the reading. And I bring a lot of love into it. Because I feel when I connect with a person, I'm making it's kind of a soul connection. It's an energy that I'm passing through my tarot to them. And I'm also accepting their energy in return. So this is a connection that can cause great emotion. So I will endeavor again to just be as kind as possible. And hopefully, if the message is a good one, they go away happy. And if it's not so good, then we can find ways to make them feel better about it.
All right, and thank you so much. I have one more question to ask you before we end, but I want you to repeat one more time for our listeners. How do people get in touch with you? And please give in detail. Spell it out if it needs to be spelled out.
Okay. Well, you can find me on Instagram, and you're not going to see much tarot on there because I'm a fun person. Actually, I'm not a fun person. I'm a Sagittarius. But you can find me
Sagittarius, when were you born? I'm Sagittarius.
I know. I knew that. There was a card that kept trying to fly out while I was speaking to you, and it was the King of Wands. And I said, I already know he's a Sagittarius. I don't need to tell him that.
What's the King of Wands?
King of Wands is fire energy. It's Aries, Leo, or Sag energy. And the King of Wands is a born leader. He's someone who approaches everything with compassion, but determination, and is not cutthroat, but very determined to make sure that he and whoever is with him is taken care of.
Well, girl, you should let that card pop right out.
Oh, it wasn't coming out all the way, but I know this about you, and everybody else knows this about you.
All right.
So, you can find me on Instagram. It's Marcella. So it's MARCCELLA _ Palooza, PALOOZA, because it's a party. And you can find me on my link tree is just Marcella. I believe it's just Marcella. I use Marcella for everything. And there's so many other apps. If you look up Marcella, you're probably gonna find a little picture of me next to it. It's always 2 C's and it's always pronounced this way. My email, marcella@yahoo.com, or La Petite Lune Crystals, which is my daughter's business email. And each word has a little dot in between it, @gmail.com.
All right. Marcella, I always say this on my show, and I am so proud to be able to say this because I surround myself with a very small group of very unique people. And when I started my podcast, everyone was telling me how to get millions of followers and I should do this. And I'm going, that's not how the way I want to conduct my business. I want to conduct my business the same way I do my personal life. I surround myself with a circle of friends that have a higher call to action. I describe those people, they don't drive by an accident, they stop to help. And when people reach out and they want to follow and subscribe, I ask that you be one of these individuals. If you're just a fan or whatever, I appreciate you. I'm very grateful for you. But this question is attached to those people that follow and describe, those good people that have a higher call to action. If you had one ask, ASK, that means if you had one thing that could be granted to you by someone that's listening to this show, that could be a game changer, that can change your life no matter how big or small. And I always say, ask big. If you had one ask and someone in my audience or someone that follows and subscribes could grant you that one ask, what would that ask be?
You put me on the spot.
I put everyone on the spot. I would love to give this question, but I want the question to come from, what's on the inside and versus what you see on the outside.
I don't ever ask for anything for myself, Kevin. So this is a really challenging thing. How dare you? Um,
If you looked at some of my podcasts before, you know I was going to ask you this.
I'm so busy and I don't have the attention span. I did watch some, but I never watched to the end. Okay. So my daughter, Luna, is autistic and she owns her own business. And I do everything under that umbrella. And it's been so challenging understanding business to help her because she started it at the age of 8 because she said she wanted to take care of me and she wanted to pay my bills. And I said, I don't want you to do that. I want you to start a business so that you grow up and you're taken care of. I I have so many challenges with my neurodiversity, and
Mhm.
she is neurodiverse. I think I would just want someone who could help us invest in her, in with equipment, with product, so that she can do what she wants creatively and lovingly to give back to the world herself. So that's it. I would want it for her. Then she can take care of me when I'm old.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being so selfless. And to our listeners, okay, autism is a conversation amongst the many conversations that we need to understand and educate ourselves on because many family members are struggling. Many family members are trying to find resources and answers to questions that not a lot of people have. And a lot of times, because of not feeling comfortable in spaces, we don't ask those questions. So educate yourself on the life of autism and understand that these families struggle and they also thrive in living in this space. So I'm hoping that someone out there in my listening audience attached their um, train to your train and helps move forward and grant you your wish. So with that said, we've covered a lot of information, and depending on what side of the fence you seem to lean on, the positive or negative, if you've been entertained and at some point this episode has touched you in a certain way, reach out to Marcella. If you're going to send me hate mail, feel free to do so. I won't read it, so don't waste your time. I only deal with positive people, and if this show has enlightened you in any way, I'd like to hear from you. And if you like what you've heard, go to our YouTube page, RMK Productions and Network. It's important. You can put and network there and subscribe and follow if you're one of those people with high call to action. In the event that you're just a fan, I will say thank you and you're much appreciated. If you'd like to be a guest on this show, go to www.rmkproductions.org. Send us your email information and we will reach out to you and talk about your subject. And we focus on people we should know. So if you're one of those people that is the best kept secret, is giving back to humanity, society, or you're one of those women that are making a difference in the world, we want to talk to you. So I'll appreciate you. And Marcella, thank you, thank you, thank you 1,000 times over. As my hashtag said, find 1,000 reasons with the number 2 to be kind to someone. I live my life that way. And my grandfather always said, when you get to a point in life where you can help someone else, it is your duty to do so. Reach one,
Thank you so much, Kevin.
teach one, and we'll fade to black. And we're out.